Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Break the Limits podcast. And in today's episode, I've invited a special guest, one of our clients. Her name is Sarah. And these are three reasons why I decided to invite her for this podcast. Number one, at a young age of 23 years old, she achieved her very first MDRT. And then at 23 years old, she achieved a annual income of 120K. And thirdly is the fact that at 23 years old, she invested $20,000 of her own money into investing in a business, investing in herself. And I highly respect her for that. And I truly believe that all of you have something that you can learn from her journey, from her experiences, and that's why I invited her here today. So with that being said, Sarah, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm Sarah and I'm from Advisors Alliance Group. So I joined the business 1 year, 4 months ago. And I mainly work with undergraduates and fresh grads to actually help them to buy time through investments, as well as to help their parents to retire with a passive income for spending.
All right, thank you for sharing that. So there are a couple of things that probably the audience, right, are very curious about, which I want to ask. Number one, right, how do you achieve your MDRT? How do you achieve your 120K income? Probably you want to share the audience so they can understand that better.
Okay, so to break it down a little bit, right, the 120K, about 13% is actually from bonus. 33% is from my basic scheme lah, because we all will have basic scheme for the first 2 years of our business. And then the remaining is purely from commissions lah. So it's because of clients, then I'm able to build that kind of income.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, are you still studying right now?
Actually, I left school before I joined the business.
Why not study and do this at the same time? Like a lot of student advisors would do so, right? Why would you quit, to do this?
Okay, so personally for me, if I do both, I think it's more of a safety net for myself, because end of the day, if I really don't work out in FA, then I can always have a degree for me to enter any other industries lah. But then I felt that if I already made a decision to choose this path, then I don't need a backup plan, because I believe that if I spend from age 23 all the way to my last day on earth, every minute in this career, I don't think I cannot make it lah.
But how come you're so convicted that when I join this career, then it's going to be, especially when you're still new to this career, you haven't experienced any wins from this career. What made you so convicted? I'll say, I'll make this career work.
Why? I think it's just the fact that in this career, like I'm my own boss. So I just need to have confidence in my abilities, and I don't need to depend on other people. Because sometimes if you don't work for yourself and you work for other people, right, then of course your future will kind of be in the hands of other people lah. If the company right, then your income will be affected, you'll be retrenched and stuff like that. But for this business, you are like your own boss. So the only chance that you will fail is when you yourself don't do what you're supposed to do, or like you don't stick up to your role lah.
Yeah, what helped you to believe those things? Was it because the colleagues, that you saw, like they really lead a very good career, live a very good life, that make you feel convicted that probably yes, this agency, this career path has possibilities? Because the thing is that at that point of time, you did not have any wins for yourself. What made you so, convicted and so confident that say that I'll burn my bridges? Yeah, there must be something that led to that, you see.
Okay, I think social proof was very important. So I did notice and witness a lot of living examples of people who made it lah. Yeah, and of course, these people, they range from students all the way to full-timers. So I was thinking to myself, if students can also do it, then what gives a full-timer a reason to not do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, understand. So what I'm hearing from you, right, is that your encounter with all of these people gave you the hope and possibilities that if I were to commit full-time like them, not part-time like a student, probably I made it work as well. If they can, so can I.
Yeah.
Interesting. So one thing that if the audience listening to this so far, right, I think through the interaction that I have with her, you can kind of tell there's a level of self-confidence right there. That her confidence says that if I were to dedicate time and effort in this, I surely make it work. And that give her the certainty and assurance that I will go full commitment, quit my career, I quit my school and join this career. So thank you for sharing that. And probably share the next thing, right, which you also really made me very curious and intrigued. At 23 years old, now she's 24. At 23 years old, you met me and you invest 12K for coaching. What's the thought process behind it?
Okay, so actually, to be very honest, I think the first about 5 or 6 months of my career, right, I was doing decently okay. But I think there was always this fear and this fear that I cannot stay long in the business, even though right now at this moment I'm doing okay in terms of income lah. Yeah, so I was like more worried about what happens next year and the subsequent years moving forward, because my objective is to stay long ma.
Yep.
Yeah, so the income that I was seeing is decent, and I think shouldn't put me in any situation where I needed coaching lah. But I felt that the coaching was very essential for me to help to restructure my business.
So if you don't mind, I challenge a little bit so that the audience really can understand. They only see the upsides of things, which is 120K, you achieve an MDRT. But what were some real challenges that you were facing at that point of time?
Okay, so like I mentioned, the first half a year, right? I was a bit lost. So I was just doing what I was supposed to do. I was just make appointments, then meet my friends. Then if there's an opportunity for them to become my clients, then they will become my clients. So it was like blindlessly, aimlessly running like a headless chicken. Like I was working, but I don't feel at peace. Yeah.
And share with us, like, why is that a big problem for you?
That's a big problem because, okay, so like for this line of work, right, our income kind of reset every month. Even though there's a basic, yes, but for commission-wise, we reset every single month. So we are like back to zero at the start of every month, and it felt very uncomfortable. Yeah, so because of this, the nature of how the pay is, right, I always was like thinking, okay, who is next? You know? Yeah, then I felt that this state of mind was very unhealthy because it kind of showed in my behavior also. And when I reach out to people, like, even though I always cycle myself to say, okay, I'm going to be very careful and not like try to, I will not sour relationships. But because I was in this state whereby my income always reset to zero at the start of the month, right? And I really want to build up my income because I dropped everything for this. So I couldn't help but reach a stage whereby I start to sour friendships.
If you don't, we applaud you for that courage and thank you for sharing so transparently with the audience. Share with us some examples that made you realize that you soured that relationship.
I think there was different kinds of instances. So there is one whereby my friend straight up, she texted me a long chunk of message and told me exactly that, okay, she don't want to be my friend anymore. So there's this one case lah. But most of it was more of like a quiet form of distancing away from me, which I was aware of. Yeah. And there was I think, one person whom I think there was some of miscommunication, and then she felt that I stepped into her boundaries, which I agree after I went back and think about it. So there was different forms of responses that made me realize that things were not going the way I wanted to be, because I joined this career to build stronger ties, and end up I come in and start to break off a few ties unintentionally.
And then how were you feeling at that point of time? How were you feeling about everything, at that point of time?
I think it was quite disappointing, because one of the bigger reasons why I joined this career is for the friendships. Okay, so to be a bit clearer, right? Basically, because a lot of people feel like they join FA, it's like you higher chance will break ties with your friends, correct? But I joined FA with a different perspective. I felt that joining FA will help me to build more stronger ties with my friends, because I can meet my friends doing my work. I don't have to just meet this friend once a year because we are so busy with work. So I had the perspective that I come in, I'm able to spend my work time with my friends, and that is going to allow me to build stronger ties lah. Yeah, so
Understand.
it was like a mismatch of my
Expectations.
yeah.
Understand. So if I can
Correct.
summarize for the audience first, what I'm hearing from Sarah, right, is the fact that initially she joined this career because she genuinely want to build stronger bonds. However, due to the structure of how commission works, every month it's a full new reset. And that put her in a state of anxiety and nervousness because she went all in this career. This was her everything. And she did not want to fail. And then suddenly now, unknowingly, unintentionally, it came off as probably in crossing people's boundaries that result to her burning bridges or, friendships with people. All of these things made her feel disappointed in herself. That's where you realize that maybe things have to change. So share with us, because we do not teach, skill sets and all this kind of stuff, right? What made you realize that it is something that you want to work upon immediately?
Okay, so I felt that if at the very start of my business I already faced this problem, right, and if I don't address it, it will continue to happen and it will worsen. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to, something must go wrong in my system or my advisory process to cause this to happen. Yeah, so I wanted some form of correction lah, but I wanted the correction to come from someone who is not in the FA industry.
And why that?
Because end of the day, I think sometimes when you are
too in the picture.
Yeah, you're like in your own bubble, right?
Yeah.
You have to, the more you have to reach out to people who are not in the bubble to have a different perspective. Yeah.
So share with the audience, right? What were some things that it really helped you click in your mind that set you in a better state?
Okay, I think I remember one of the sessions with Daryl, I actually realized something very important. So Daryl was asking me like, if let's say, right, I have to choose between having a very good first year in my business versus having a sustainable business, right? Which one will I choose? If no choice, must choose one lah. Okay, but of course it's possible to do both at the same time. Okay, but if really must choose, I'll choose the second one lah, which is to build a sustainable business. Means I'm okay to forego not doing well at the beginning or the initial years of my job lah. Yeah.
So share with us, right? When you understand that, what clicked in your mind? How was your behaviors or your actions towards your friends, prospects? What changed?
Okay, so everything become a lot clearer and straightforward. So everything is like a decision-making process, right? So I just know that if let's say I face something that I need to make a choice, I just need to ask myself one question. Like, is doing this going to help me to stay long in the business, or is it going to cause me to leave the business earlier? So this is how I decide everything moving forward lah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And there was one thing that we share with you at Break the Limits, serve not sell. And I really believe that she embodied it perfectly, really, really strong. And I think it was a challenge initially because you constantly feel the dilemma like, if I serve, then I cannot get a commission, then how do I go about, my day to day? How did you handle that transition then? Take your time to slowly think, because it's a really real problem, right, that other advisors are facing, which hardly addressed. From last time, Sarah, right, wanting to meet people, hopefully everybody can be your client immediately, right now, to suddenly you're like, okay, cool, I'll be at more peace with myself. Even though this month commission might be slower, but it's okay, I know what I'm doing. How did you transition into that?
Okay, so I think changing that mindset, right, to like serve not sell, right, it helped me to be so at peace with myself to a point like I felt that I was a winner.
What do you mean?
So like, for example, I go to office, right, then let's say I know that, this person just reach his new target, things like that, right? So sometimes there'll be this kind of conversations lah, to be very frank, right? Because this is still a sales line lah. Yeah, so then when I hear it, I don't feel like, what I don't have. Or more of, I will think twice like, okay, that is good, but I still feel like I'm better than him.
Why?
Because of the peace that I have. Like this peace is like good for my mental health, and it allows me to never be in a state of desperation, which is something I feel a lot of advisors will unintentionally face. Yeah, and this state of desperation is very suffocating.
Elaborate more. Share with us.
It will make you like be very conflicted because you clearly know that you have to think on the perspective of your clients, but at the same time, you also want to get your income in. So this push and pull, right, is very tiring. But if you view this, if you change your perspective completely, right, then you see benefit in helping the client. You see the benefit for yourself. So it's like a dual benefit.
Win-win situations.
Yeah.
Elaborate so that the audience really can understand what you're saying.
Okay, so for example, if I go for this appointment and the person end up never buy anything from me, or rather I never share any plans lah, because I felt that it wasn't the right time or things like that, right? Then the person leave the conversation feeling happy because they don't feel pressure at all, right? And because the person feel good, I feel good also. Yeah, even though there's no income, but I see a lot of potential in having this person feel good.
Why? Why is that important to you then?
Because if they leave with a good impression, right, then there is a higher possibility that in the future, they'll refer their circle of friends to me, or they'll think of me first, like if they're finally ready. So there's a lot of endless possibilities that can happen, which I don't know lah. But I feel like whatever the scenario is, it won't harm me lah.
Understand. So if I can sum up what is happening in your thought process, right? So in the past, you were always looking for immediate gratification. It's like, right now, I want the sale. And then it's like, hey, why not lah? Just do now lah. Yes, you can. That somehow came off as pushy or like a bit aggressive, crossing boundaries, which you never intended to. Because your original intention in this career is, I want to be closer to them. Subconsciously, the design of it made you panic, nervous, anxious. It happened. But with this new reset of mental frame, serve not sell, it brought you a lot of peace and acceptance inside you. Because you're like, cool, I know I will eventually win the war. Maybe these battles I might lose a little bit here and there, but it's fine. I want them to genuinely enjoy the process of my expertise, consultation with them. They walk away happy. Eventually, they trust me, work with me. It's another thing. But today, my job is to serve and value at them first. Am I right to say that? Yeah, beautiful. So, share with us and probably some audience watching this right now, right? Just now you mentioned very honestly, these were some of the dilemmas, some conflicts, challenge that you face as an advisor, especially young 23 years old. What other challenges, right, did you face on your journey towards MDRT that you can share with them?
Okay, I think the other challenge is very closely associated to the stigma. So, every time like you approach somebody, right, they will remember that you're a F8, right? Then it's like, how do I put it? It's like, because initially at the start of my business, I admit that I approached somebody for the potential of having them become a client, rather quite instantly lah.
Yes.
But now I approach somebody with the thought that I hope that you're my client in the future when you are ready. So, but the thing is, I don't know how to communicate this to the person also because of the stigma. So the stigma didn't say that, how to put it? It's like the stigma will cause people to
misunderstand you.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you handle those misunderstandings?
I think there were a few instances whereby if they are my friends, right, then I will just explain to them. It's not hard for me to just communicate lah. But I think if it's someone who is like an acquaintance or like a batchmate who is not directly my friend, then it's a little bit hard for me to communicate this, especially through text. It's very, very difficult to like bring across my main intention. Yeah. Because the fact that I reach out to this person, right, I have to be very frank with you that I hope that eventually you are my client because you're not my friend, ma. So the only reason why I reach out to you is because I feel that, okay, I like you and therefore I hope that in the future we have a chance to work together. I don't randomly just mass send to the whole group of strangers lah. I choose ma. So I really want to work with this person one. But the thing is, I don't want this person to like run away from me just because of the stigma. But it's so hard for me to
fight the stigma and to clear the misunderstanding. Correct. Right? So then how do you handle that then? How do you handle this misunderstanding? How do you handle this stigma?
to be very honest, I don't think I have found a solution yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there were days where sometimes I will feel a little bit tired of like, it's just a feeling of misunderstood But I don't blame the person also because the stigma is too strong.
Yeah.
So I don't blame the person. But at the same time, I also don't know how to do this better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one thing I want to add in, right, is that so for Sarah, she thinks that she haven't solved it, she haven't do it better. But one of the things that I really challenge her, right, is to put herself out there on social media to change people's impression. And I think it's very important. And probably you want to share with the audience as well, right? On your journey to change impression, to express, not impress, how was that process like for you?
I think change impression is not difficult because end of the day, we're just trying to be back to ourselves. Because sometimes when we are working in this line of work, right, we forget who we are. We are too intertwined with our work, right? So to be very honest, I was happy that you gave this advice because this advice helped me to go back to my comfort zone of being myself. Yeah.
Elaborate so that the audience can understand what do you mean by being yourself.
Okay, so I think a lot of people from since back to my JC days or my secondary school days, everyone known me for being very straightforward and very blunt It could be a double-edged sword because sometimes people don't like it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but basically the main point was I always take pride in speaking from my mind. Yeah, so even though it's not very good and I'm trying to work on being more tactful, but I felt that this is something that most people, even myself, will appreciate because it's not tiring for me to be myself.
Yep.
And the person don't have to assume what I'm thinking because it's just as straightforward as it is. What I say is what I say.
Yeah. And you're just expressing all of these things on social media. Right? So just to pause a little bit so the audience can understand why so many other coaches on personal branding, right, will talk about, posting content. I think the truth, as a matter of fact, I tell this to a lot of our clients as well. Imagine when you're younger, right, you were a class clown. You were a class bully. 30 years later, 20 years later, you say, I'm a financial advisor. Your friends will be like, what the hell? I don't believe. And that is that previous impression they have about you. For example, Sarah's case, and she was very honest about it. Initially, first 3 months, I was, there's a lot of pressure on me and I just don't know what happened, subconsciously behave that way. But it does not mean that she permanently, for the rest of her life and career, she will remain that state. Hence, what we can do is change impression. But it doesn't make sense for you to text every friend of yours and say, I'm like that now. It don't make sense. Yeah. So the only thing that makes sense for yourself as an advisor is to portray, showcase who you are at scale to as many people who really like you for who you are. And that was a challenge that I gave Sarah, and I think she showed up really religiously, at least 1 post, 2 posts per day, portraying what she believed in, which is what she mentioned, her straightforwardness, her bluntness, and that was playing to her strength. She was just sharing her thoughts, her beliefs, ideology online as much as she can. So now let me ask you this question, right? How has that benefited your work or yourself? When you're showcasing your thoughts online, how has that benefited your work or yourself?
Actually, how it benefited my work I think there was a few instances where people got remember what I post. Then when I meet them, they will bring it up. They were like, hey, that you mentioned about this, that. Actually, I felt that it was very, very true. I think it's then I was shocked because I post so many things, but they remember what I post.
They remember, but you cannot remember what you post, right?
As in, I remember, but it's just that I didn't expect them
to have that impact.
Correct. I didn't expect them to even bring it up. Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I felt that it was good because what you mentioned is a bit not practical or realistic for me to go to each and every person individually to share my thoughts Correct. It's more of I put online if you have time and you have the interest, then you pop in and go and listen If you not, then you just scroll out. It's like I do my own thing, you do your own. Then you feel like it, then you go and see Yeah.
So a lot of advisors I coach, right? usually I ask them post, then they get discouraged. Did it happen to you though?
No lah.
Why?
Discouraged
From posting. Why you're not discouraged? How can you do that so consistent every day?
Okay, I think a part of it was because of who I am lah. I don't have much fear when it comes to posting. That's the first part. Okay. Yeah, so maybe those advisors who like have
Fear
a lot
judgment.
Actually, I cannot relate to how they feel. That's the problem. Because I'm totally different. Like I enjoy posting.
Yeah.
And I think that posting is good because it allows me to express my thoughts.
Yes.
And I like it when people like hear my thoughts, right? And then they bounce ideas with me, or they tell me, actually, you make a lot of sense. Then I feel very powerful. So I cannot relate to why they have this barrier lah. But I think it's also in me that I'm comfortable posting in the first place.
Sure. Let's dig in deeper so that probably I can try to dissect what's your thought process that people can study, you see. When you were younger in schooling days, were you always that fearless to judgment as well?
Fearless to judgment?
Like means that friend judge me, never mind. Oh. Because technically that's the fear of judgment people have for posting content.
I think to a certain extent, I will have fear of judgment lah. Because it doesn't feel nice to be judged in a bad way lah.
Yeah, but how come for online you're okay with it?
I think online is okay because I don't know what people say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are kind enough to not write in comments lah, to like say, hey, why you like that? Or like, you know? Yeah, so I think because I'm unaware, then I'm happy lah.
Understand.
No reason to not.
What I'm sensing from Sarah, right, is the fact that if someone were to throw immediate hate on you, of course, you are only human. That judgment will hit you, the hate will hit you. But what I'm hearing from you, right, is that you do not overthink and ruminate in your brain. They're like, oh, what if people... There's no what if in your brain. It is what it is. I just say what I want to say. So with that, you're at peace with yourself. So one powerful tip that we can definitely learn from her, right, is that I think see it is what it is. You see it for what it is. Means that if there's a hate, I address the hate. If there's no hate, I don't go and overthink all this kind of random stuff and make myself feel scared.
And in fact, if there is hate, right, I don't care.
And why would you say that?
Because at the end of the day, you cannot satisfy everybody.
Yes.
The fact that I put a spotlight on myself, I need to be prepared that people will not like what I say, or people will end up not liking me lah. Yeah, so, but the thing is, then it's fine lah. It's like, I'm not here to satisfy everybody. I just say what I'm saying lah. Like, I feel like I'm harmless and I don't mean to target anybody. So, if let's say the person behind my back or like in the comments, like say certain things, I'm not emotionally affected by it.
Yeah. What allowed you to switch your state and be acceptance to have that acceptance towards hate? Like, meaning to say, you can like me, some people will hate me, and it's fine with that. What helped you to have this awareness?
I think I read in a book somewhere that when you become more successful in life, like you level up, right, there are bound to be people who don't like you. That is a non-negotiable thing you have to accept.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, if it doesn't happen, that means you are not there yet.
Understand.
Yeah.
So she wired her brain in the sense that these are good evidence of my progression and growth. Instead of saying, I want to avoid it altogether. I like that. I like that. So one thing that I always tell people is like Rihanna. There are definitely people who like her song, don't like her song. Justin Bieber, whoever. And the moment they do that, they have lovers and haters like what you mentioned. There's a level of success they attain. Beautiful. Appreciate that. So now that as a financial advisor, you considered yourself as a decent success, MDRT in your first year. Of course, we want to aim for next year, third year, consistent MDRTs. But what's an exciting project that you're gunning for right now?
Exciting project?
Yeah, what's the next challenge for you see?
Okay, I think this year I feel very excited because like I planning to run monthly projects. So it's like not one project, but it's a monthly thing. So I plan to like use like how do I put this?
Slowly.
Okay, so at the very start of my business, right, there is this advice that some of my seniors shared to actually create like a broadcast channel and then add everyone in. Then you blast like financial related news lah. But the thing is, slowly I realized that this wasn't like I stand in the point of view of the person who are receiving my message. I felt that it wasn't very effective. It didn't benefit them much. I felt great that I'm doing my job. Okay, I'm like blasting news, But then if I put myself in their shoes, I will think that, very noisy. Or like this news also not relevant to me. You send to me for what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt that this was something that I wanted to refine. So I planning to recategorize everybody into different age profile and send more curated news. Means like if I send this news to you, right, there's a higher chance that I felt that it's relevant for you. That's why I send to you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
So
what else?
Because of this project, right, I need to like be more alert lah in terms of this news is for who. And then how I package it such that it's easy for people to understand. And then when people receive it, then they read it, then they have questions, then they ask me lah. It's like more of a touch point. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that in the past, very mass.
Yeah, it's like generic, just mass send, no personalization. But now, before I send a message to somebody, I will recall what happened in our past encounters, like what we said during our appointments or like what I know about them. Then I send something that I think they will like or something that I think it will benefit them. So there's a lot more thinking when it comes to sending now and not like just mass send.
Wow, I'll give you a high five. You know why I give a high five is because, right, you see, once your intention is clear, your actions follows. In the past, I genuinely want to make everybody my client. Hence, it's just a mess send, just follow, just broadcast anything. But now when she said that, I really want to serve. I serve until they want to buy, but I don't sell. And when you do that, now it takes more effort, But this effort, people can feel it. People can really feel that you genuinely care. You're there to value add, not a annoying pest. Now different impression of you as well. So it's very beautiful and very powerful. Which eventually, if they like you for who you are and the value that you've been giving them, they will choose you to be their advisor, right? So, besides these, is there any other upcoming projects they are gunning for? Is there any other challenges that excites you?
Challenges that excite me.
Yeah. Have you thought of going to management, for example?
Oh, okay. Okay, to be very honest, I don't have okay, so in this line there, like you mentioned, right, to give the audience some context, we can either do sales or we can do recruitment or we can do both.
Yes.
Right? So recruitment is something that I will want to work towards too lah. Yeah, but of course, exactly when and how, I think it is it will be integrated in my life kind of thing. So I don't intentionally set a start time. So it is more of like,
if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, then like why I want to do recruitment, right, is I felt that this career, I see a lot of benefits in this career. Yes, there are downsides, but I feel like the upsides is something that a lot of people are looking for. Like for example, work-life balance. Okay, but I want to put a disclaimer that I'm not saying that this job is easy lah. Okay, when I say work-life balance, I'm not saying that it's easy, but this job allows you to have a lot of autonomy to create balance. So like for example, right, I see my entire year 2025, I don't have annual leave ma. No one like restrict my leave. So I can choose which days I want to take off. Okay, then of course, I have the choice lah when I want to take off and stuff like that. So there's this kind of opportunities, right, for you to create work-life balance. But of course, you don't abuse it lah, because end up you will not do well and you will eventually leave the industry ma. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that it's because the autonomy, you really wish that more people should experience it. And that's why you want to build a team. So probably I'll be a devil advocate, right? At 24 years old, what makes you a good leader? Share with the audience.
What makes me a good leader?
Yeah, why would young ones or like the new FCs or like even old FCs, why should anyone join your team?
I think exactly because I'm new, right? I'm very open to how to put it? I'm very open to varied forms of requests. Like for example, how do I explain this? Let me think.
You're very adaptable or what?
Basically, in my mind, right, because I'm still very new, there's a lot of things that I think still can tweak on.
Yes.
Don't have to be must do step 1, 2, 3, 4, you know?
Correct.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe this is something that will be very beneficial for our generation, because I feel like our generation, we are a lot more like adaptable. Like we like to have a say in certain things, and we also like to we are more creative to switch things around. Don't have to follow the procedural way of doing things, you know? Yeah, so I feel like I'm very open to like understanding
Where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, right, is that the new FC is coming here, who is pretty much very creative, opinionated, want to have his voice heard, to create things together with you. You actually welcome such things.
Yeah, because I can relate to the person.
Right.
I understand where they're coming from. Yeah.
So it's like things that don't make sense, if can make redundant, you are very open to this kind of thing.
Yes.
Right? Only when there's objectivity, you will do it. So what I'm hearing, right, is that probably you understand the needs of what, you know, your generation kind of advisors require, looking for, and you're open to co-creating it with your team. That is what you are, this is the kind of advisors you're looking for. Okay, cool. And probably some things that I can share and also chime in for Sarah, right? By nature, she have a gift of the gap. She's really clear and, you know, articulate her thoughts really quite well. She has an innate desire, very strong desire, in fact, to like to influence, persuade, and convince people to take action. So when that happens, right, she feels a sense of accomplishment, which I, you know, find it very impressive. The fact that it is not an overnight thing. It has been happening since really, really young, if I remember correctly, because I was coaching her. Those are the things I think naturally gave you a talent, like an edge in terms of leadership. So probably let's end off with one very powerful question, right? Is for the audience watching this, two audience. One, maybe a student, non-FA watching this first. What are some advice that you can share with them, you know, for them to probably want to get certain milestones in their life, do better for themselves? What would you say to them?
Sorry, students.
Yeah,
and
for
what?
students or non-FAs.
Non-FA students.
Yes, correct. Non-FA students who want to do better in their life, or you know, want to have progression. What's some advice that you can share with them?
Yeah, what kind of advice you are referring to?
Like life.
What genre one?
Yeah, like life, in business, in career, for example. You
okay.
know? Yeah.
Okay,
like what's one advice that's close to your heart that you think can help them, evaluate them, so that they can speed up their growth, you know?
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, okay, this is linked to a common thing that I noticed lah. Okay, so I realized that a lot of times when I reach out to people like students, right, they always will have a few things that will say in common. So one of it is, I'm not interested in financial planning, or like I feel that I have no savings now, you know, or like I think this is the main two things lah. Basically no interest, and they feel like even if they have, they got no money. So because of these two things, right, they shut off very fast. They shut down already. They are not ready to engage in any form of conversation, because they feel like these two things are like, probably to me it's like a mental obstacle lah. Yeah, which I know where they are coming from. If today I'm not a FA, I can relate, and I will say the same thing also. But I think it's more of, I feel like this is exactly like, because now I'm a FA, when I see this kind of objections, or like when people say this kind of thing to me, right, in my head, right, I know that then they are the people that really, really need help. It's exactly because you no money, then you don't come from a wealthy family lah. If you don't come from a wealthy family, then somewhere must have gone wrong, and you have to be the first person to create wealth.
Yes.
Right? Or like if someone is not interested, right, then that means the person don't truly understand. They know the importance of investment, blah, 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 but they don't truly understand. Therefore, they say they are not interested. Because if you truly understand, you want to take action one. So when I see and hear these kind of responses, right, I feel like, again, I got a lot of conviction that, okay, I have to help them. But then they shut down already. So I also cannot help them because...
So what's one advice you give them? Hopefully they
I
can
think
be
one
more
advice
open-minded.
is just, I hope that they are able to park the FA industry stigma aside and really genuinely care for themselves enough, right, to want to
Find out the
just
truth.
find out.
Find out the truth.
Yeah, so that they can make an informed decision either to progress forward or to stay status quo. Because now I feel like this decision is not informed lah. That's what I feel like.
Understand. Thank you for sharing that. So what I'm hearing from there, if I can summarize, right, is that park the stigma aside and really find out what's the ultimate truth and make an informed decision from the ultimate truth.
Correct.
Right? Okay. And then for the advisors, right, some of them probably are not, getting their MDRTs. What are one or two advice or, quotes that really close to your heart, right, that you probably can share with them?
Okay, I think one thing that helped me a lot, right, is to choose who you want to work with. When I say who you want to work with means to choose your clients lah. Yeah. So in a way, right, I think you just imagine you have to meet this client, right, a few times before you have to meet this person a few times before they become your client. Then after they become your client, if you are a really good FA who do the right thing, then you will have to meet them once a year or minimally once in 2 years lah for an annual review of their portfolio, right? So if you are every day spending time engaging with people that you like, then you will like this job a lot. Then it shouldn't be sian, because I feel like sometimes they don't hit their goals because they sian and they don't see a purpose and they don't enjoy what they do. That's why they will hit a point whereby they don't do well lah. Because partly why you don't do well is because you don't do enough.
Yeah.
And you don't do enough is because you don't like your job enough.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is probably one of the biggest thing that helped me lah, because I think I cannot say that I have a lot of clients now, but every client that I picked out so far, right, is people that I really, really like one. And every time I look at the list of my clients, right, I feel very good because like I just feel very happy to want to meet them again, even if it's not for business purposes, just for fun, you know? So, and this thing make me feel very happy lah, because I can choose who I want to work with. Not every job can let you choose who you want to work with, ma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, powerful stuff. So with that being said, we come to the end of this podcast. If those of the advisors or anyone watching this interested to find out more about you, where can they find you at?
Where can they find me at?
Yeah, what's your Instagram?
Is it?
Yeah, what's your username?
My Instagram is sarah.limm.
Okay, they can find you. They can find you at sarah.limm. Okay, beautiful. With that, high five. Thank you for coming on this podcast.
Thank you.